Now, Rightmove's commercial director blames falling confidence on wall-to-wall media coverage of Europe's financial struggles. That's us you're talking about, Miss Miles Shipside, and that's actually a point that Natascha was making as well a little bit before. How concerned are sellers that because of the crisis, it's almost a self-prophecy? The more you talk about it, the more it's in the headlines, the more people get scared. And how much does it have to do with fundamentals, with the real economy? Because the UK is not also going through a great time.
That's right. Well, financial markets don't like uncertainty, and if you're coming up to one of the biggest financial decisions in your life in terms of moving house, then you don't like that uncertainty either. So we've seen a lack in the number of new sellers come to market, 11% down on the same period last year. So a lack of confidence to make that big financial decision. If you're worried about unemployment, or if the governor of the Bank of England doesn't know what's going to happen tomorrow, then home movers are going to be concerned about moving home as well.
And also mortgages. At the moment we have great interest rates, but they can go up in the next couple of years. Is it more the domestic buyer that's uncertain about its future, or is it also foreign buyers actually pulling out as they are in this kind of wait-and-see situation?
Very much the domestic market. That's the bulk of the UK market. London has gone down less than the rest of the country and is still well up year on year. So the London and the foreign buyer market, which again is a relatively small sector of the market but good for confidence in London, still appears to be active.
Natascha, does this make sense? I mean, prices in the UK have been holding so strong that we are really facing the unknown. Despite the headlines, it seems that we need a little bit of a correction overall.
Yeah, I think it was sort of clear that if you come in a boom time, you know, you see prices going up, inflation going up, usually there is a correction afterwards, and there has to be. I think you've seen that in the rest of the Eurozone as well. The countries that did see a housing boom see a big correction afterwards, and of course it takes then a trigger to get out of that correction again. And of course with the economy still going down, we haven't had this trigger yet that can rebuild the confidence. And as long as that isn't there, I don't think we're going to see a big improvement.
And Miles, this doesn't have to do with any seasonality. I mean, do people not take off actually what they're offering on the market during the Christmas period just because people don't want to move? You're going into the holidays.
Absolutely. It's coming up to a quieter period, but this has happened early, and also this fall's happened in spite of a shortage of supply. And one of the points in the UK, we haven't seen such a great correction as there have been in other European markets, and that's partly because it's underpinned by fewer properties coming onto the market. And I suppose one of the positives about these lower listing figures is it still means people have got a choice not to market, so there are less for sales around, but that's one of the things that isn't making property prices cheaper. If they were cheaper, that would be a trigger for a more active market.
Now, Miles and Natascha, I also want to get this chart up for you because this is what we're looking at. It shows the share prices of three of the UK's biggest home builders over the last 5 years. Barratt, Taylor Wimpey losing nearly 90% of their value. And I guess this is very telling because you see it drop, and this is on confidence, and then they're staying at that much lower level. This is kind of what we're seeing also for bond yields. What does it take in a kind of, you know, panicky crisis or where investors are very uncertain to go back to the levels, Natascha, that we saw pre-crisis? Be it construction or be it bond yields, just in general, what does it take for a market to kind of, you know, get back, get a grip and say, right, well, now I'm really confident that we're back on track?
Well, you need to see signs that there is economic growth coming back in again. And I think the problem is that in a lot of countries, you need to have it's not just a seasonal thing. You do need structural reforms to get economies and to get growth back on track. You know, you have seen big corrections because they came out of a boom phase that was too much. You know, you did have artificially blown up housing bubbles in a lot of Eurozone countries, not so much in the UK, but there you need to see a correction afterwards, and you do need to see structural reforms in order to get generally growth back on track. And I think for the UK, it's one of the issues that exports are, the basis for export has been eroding a lot, and you do need to see more strength on that side.
Yeah. Miles, are you concerned that actually there's two worries? I guess the European debt crisis. Is this something that buyers and sellers alike are concerned about, but also the domestic situation? Because it's much harder, of course, for UK consumers to get out of their own situation, which is not really that much better than Europe. We don't have a debt crisis here, but certainly we're edging towards a possible recession here as well.
Partly confidence, but also the Eurozone crisis is affecting bank lending, building societies and lenders finding it harder to raise money, therefore they're getting tighter on finance. So you need the finance as well. And one of the things that would help the builders would be greater availability of finance, and there is talk of some initiatives to help first-time buyers, which will then spread through to the rest of the economy if it encourages builders to build more houses.